Okay, hello everyone. I am sorry again. I am not there at the school today. Waiting on some COVID test results. So I had some symptoms over the weekend, but I'm already feeling better. So I'm pretty sure my test is going to come back negative and I'll be back by the end of the week. Okay, so today is your bell work. So what I did here was I went ahead and started my bell work. I have the equation represented of two x's. Okay, so here we have my 1x, 2x, and then I have three positives. 1, 2, 3. Then it equals 5 negatives. My job is to find out what one of these x's actually equals. And remember, I can't just pick up these three positives and put them on the other side. You can only remove them by giving your zero pairs on the side with the variable. So my job is to cancel out all three positives with three negatives. And because I added the three negatives, I have to add three negatives to this side to keep it balanced. And then what that does is make these cancel. They make my zero pairs. Okay, so then what I have left is just my 1x and 2x. And now I have a whole bunch of negatives on the other side. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to take these 8 negatives and split them into two groups. Okay, so, well, if I have 8, what's half of 8? 4. So I need 4 of these, and then another set of 4, and that's what one of these x's equals. This equals the -4, and that x equals that -4. So we could say x equals -4. That is how you would model this with solving. Okay, that's what we did yesterday. So if you needed a quick review. All right, so now I have 3r minus 2 equals -8. Well, I need to get rid of these negatives here. And remember, what's the opposite of a negative? A positive. So I actually want to put 2 positive there. And because I put 2 positives on the left side, I have to put 2 positives on the other side. Then I can cancel my zero pairs. That makes a 0. That makes a 0. This makes a 0. And that one makes a 0. So then I have to figure out, all right, what do I have left? I have 6 negatives left, and I have 3 r's. I want 1 r is going to equal a set of -2. This r is going to equal a set of -2, and that r is going to equal another set. So r equals -2. Okay, that's a nice quick review on how to actual model. Okay, so today we're going to work doing these algebraically. Your notes are pretty short. There are only 4 of them. Now remember when we had 1-step equations, we had 5 steps. Well, this time we have 7 steps. That's because we have 2-step equations. And so some of the steps that we did before, we're going to have to repeat again. Okay. So your PDF file has the notes twice. That was for printing purposes. Okay, so you are only doing 4 examples, and then we will start some of the homework together. Okay, so when we do 1-step equations, our first job is to get rid of any addition or subtraction. Okay, so always get rid of your addition or subtraction first. So let's go ahead and make a little text box. So we need to do the inverse of addition or subtraction first. Okay, so my first job, if I look at my equation, I have an addition sign. Okay, so I know I want to get rid of addition with subtraction. Okay, so I'm going to subtract a -4. And I'll show you how to do this both the horizontal way and the vertical way. I normally do the horizontal. I know some other teachers like doing the vertical, so I will show you both. Now, the reasoning why we do this is so that our 4s cancel out. Okay, that is our step 1 and 2 that we did before, the inverse operation with the number on both sides of the equation. Then we need to write the remaining equation. Okay, so if you notice, we still have this 2x. So I'm actually going to bring down my 2x. Okay, I'm going to bring this down and rewrite it as 2x is now equal to, well, 10 minus 4 is 6. So I rewrote my equation. Now I need to do, the inverse of my multiplication. I'll put a little star for our multiplication. Multiplication. I can move this out of my way. All right. So what is the inverse of multiplication? Well, that is division, right? So what number is with my x? That's the number I want to divide by. So I'm going to divide by 2. And remember, you're doing this on both sides of the equal sign. A lot of you lost points on your quizzes from last week because you weren't doing work to both sides of the equal sign. Okay, so then I can cancel my 2's out. And then we have our solution left. And what is my solution? Well, I would say my solution is x equals 3. Then obviously, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. And then we always rewrite the equation again. But remember, we are replacing the variable x with our 3. And then we actually check our work. Check for true statement. That is what we're trying to do. So there is all of your steps in a little nutshell. Okay, so let's get back to our steps. It said to rewrite our equation. Remember, we are replacing x in our 2x with 3 plus 4. And is that going to equal 10? I can't just say, yep, it equals. We have to actually do the mathematical work. Remember, order of operations, multiplication before addition. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 4 is 10 equal to 10? Yes. Okay, so that's kind of basically in a nutshell all of our steps that we need to do. Okay, so we got a couple more to do. So let's go through them. I'll try to color code better this time. And this time we're also going to do it the vertical way. Okay, so what Mr. Callan likes to do is rewrite the equation. Now leave some space because we want to get rid of this addition of 5. What's the opposite of addition of 5? Subtraction of 5. So we are subtracting 5 still on both sides of our equal signs. Right there, step 1 and 2. I showed I'm subtracting. I showed which number I'm trying to eliminate. Now I'm going to rewrite my equation, but I'm going to simplify with getting rid of my 5s. They went gone. All right, so rewrite our equation. I have a 3x left. I have an equal sign. And then what's 14 minus 5? 9. Okay. Next step says use the inverse of multiplication. Well, what's the inverse of multiplication? We're going to divide. Okay. That way's a little bit harder to do it. The horizontal way. These cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That is the reasoning why it disappears. Okay. So then I'm left with x on the left side. And then we just take 9 and divide it by 3. Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. That is our solution. Okay. Then remember, we always have to go back, rewrite our equation, but replace x with the 3. I'm going to rewrite it as 3x, or 3 times 3 plus 5. And is that going to equal 14? That's what we're trying to find out. 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 plus 5 is 14. And that is true. Okay. All right, that's 2 down. We're halfway done with our notes. Okay. Let's go to number 3. We're going to make sure we get some negatives in there. Remember, what are our steps? We have to do the inverse of addition or subtraction. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So I know I'm subtracting on both sides. What number am I trying to get rid of? 8. So that's why I'm subtracting by 8 on both sides. Okay, my 8s cancel. Bring down my negative 5s. Do not forget that negative. That is your little brother or sister that is coming back to the store with you. Okay, so notice I have a negative 2 minus 8. Remember your integer rules. You have to add the opposite. If you see 2 negatives on top of each other, when you're adding or subtracting, it's going to be same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. It's like you borrowed money twice. You borrowed $2 one day and $8 another day, so now you owe $10. All right, next step was the inverse of multiplication, division. Don't forget you're taking a negative 5 to both sides. So then that your negative 5s here cancel each other out. Now we're ready for our solution. That S equals, integer man. Negative and a negative make a positive. Rewrite your equation. But this time, instead of an S, we're putting a 2. Okay, so negative 5 times 2 plus 8 should equal a negative 2. All right, negative 5 times 2. If you borrowed $5 twice, you owe $10. But then say you earned $8 mowing the lawn. Okay, so that $8 you had to pay back to your brother, you still owe him $2 more. And that's what we wanted. Now, if you get to this point here and you don't get where you can check mark, that means there's either a computation error in your checking work or there's a computation error up in your actual solving. So that's where you want to make sure that you are trying your best at knowing which steps you are doing and checking your work so you're catching those small computation errors. And that's why it pays to show your work, because then you can go back and see what you did and hopefully find your mistake, or at least your teacher can then see your mistake and know if it's a computation error or is it an algebraic misunderstanding mistake. Okay. All right, number 4, let's do this one like we did the one above it. Rewrite negative 7y plus 3, then leave some space. We'll come back with a different color and put your negative 25. And I like to put a different color to show what I am doing. It stands out more. If you're doing this on paper and pencil, that's fine too. You can just, my opposite operation is that I'm subtracting. I am subtracting 3 from both sides. All because I want these 3's to cancel. Well, add your opposite, and you have a negative plus a negative equals 1. Same signs, add and keep your negative. So when I rewrite this, it's a negative 7y equals a negative 28. Alrighty. The opposite of multiplication, division on both sides. Both sides, people. Both sides. Divide by negative 7 because that's what we're multiplying with y, and we want to get y by itself. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 makes a big fat 1. And let's get our solution. Y equals, and a negative makes a positive 4. So that's my solution. If I plug 4 into my equation, when I check my work here, I should get my negative 25 on the other side. Now, are we all perfect? Do we make mistakes? Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why we check our work. A negative 7 times a positive 4 is a negative 28. I owe you $28 and I gave you 3. Am I out of debt? No. How much more do I owe you? 25. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. If you need to, make sure you pause this, get your notes caught up. And we're going to go next to start our homework. Homework number 2 for Mrs. Oliver's class. Okay, you have some modeling that you need to do. So a review from yesterday's lesson. Hopefully you watched that video completely. It was only 13 minutes long. And then we have 12 problems to solve algebraically. Now, at the bottom, there is a scrambled answer bank. Okay, so hopefully when you get your solution and you check your solution, whatever your variable equals should be at the bottom. I'm sorry, sleepy. All right, so I'm going to do one modeling with algebraically, and then I'll do a couple from this side. Okay, so let's look at A. It says I need 2 x's. So there's my 2 x's. Then it also says I need 3 positives, all on the left side. But then I need 11 positives on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I need to get rid of those 3 positives. Well, what's the opposite of positive? You're correct. You said a negative. And because I put those 3 negatives there, I got to put 3 negatives over here. All because then they cancel each other out. That's our whole point. We want them to cancel. Okay. Then I look, how many do I have left? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. we have to take those 8 positives and split them between the two x's. Okay, well, we could sit there and separate them out and count. 1 over here, 1 over there. Or we could use what we know with our multiplication and division skills. If I have $8 and I got split between 2 students, how much money does each student get? If you said 4, you are correct. So 4 of these ones are split up each. So we are thinking our solution is 4. So now we have to go on the other side and do the same problem and still show all of our steps. Now, it doesn't matter to me which way you do, horizontal or vertical, whether it's under the equation or within the equation, as long as you're doing all your steps. Okay? So, and it's pretty similar. I had to subtract 3 in my model, so I should be subtracting 3 on both sides in my algebraic. That's the same thing, isn't it? These cancel. 2x equals 8. That's how many ones I had left. And then what did I have to do with those ones? I had to divide them by 2. And our solution is x equals 4. Now, remember, you have to check your work. Going to be pretty picky about that, just like I was with one step. You have to check your work, because when we get to rationals, you're going to want to check it. All right, replace x with 4, because that's our solution. 2 times 4, 8, plus 3 should equal 11, and it does. So my solution for both is correct. Okay, you have 3 more just like that. Okay, you just wash them with some negatives. Remember, these x's are going to be negative x's. Okay, so to get rid of that negative, you got to turn everything to the opposite. All right, let's look at our equations here. All right, so I have 5m minus 42. I want to get rid of that 42. What's the opposite of minus for subtraction? Using higher grade addition. So I'm adding 42 to both sides. Now, you have to follow those integer rules. Same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. So I have different signs here. Okay, so I have my 5m equals, well, 42 minus 12 is 30. Now we have to do like we did before. We undo division, or multiplication with division. And whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I got to do to the other. So my solution is m equals 6. And then again, we check our work. Check our work. 5 times 6 minus 42 is not going to equal negative 12. If I had $30, but I spent 42. Okay, you can think of that as adding your opposite. And you can clearly see then that you have different signs. Negative 12 equals negative 12. Okay, remember this is 1 and 2. Rewrite. 1 and 2 again. Solution. Checking. Those are the steps that you should be showing in every equation. It might seem like a lot, but it's really a great practice to have. All right. Let's see. Is there another one in here that looks a little bit more different? Let's look at, oh wait, we didn't check. Is it 6 down here below? Yes, 6 is down there. So our solution works. Let's do number 8. Okay. We know we have an addition problem. Okay. So if I wrote this as negative 3y plus a negative 40, what's the opposite of adding 40 or negative 40? Subtracting a negative 40. But whoa, hold up a second. Add your opposite. And we are really, 14 plus 40. Okay. All that does is make these two cancel. And then we follow the integer rules on the other side of the equal sign. All right, so let's rewrite. I have a negative 3y equals, and 14 plus 40 is 54. I have a multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. You got this. You know what you're doing. Okay. My 3's cancel each other out. Y equals, I have different signs. Remember the integer man. I have a positive and a negative. I get a negative. 3 goes into 5 one time with 2 left over. 3 goes into 24 8 times. Okay. All right, now we got to check our work. Replace y with your negative 18. Negative 3 times a negative 18 plus a negative 40 equals 14. Well, that's going to make a positive product because I have 2 negatives. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 54 plus a negative 40. All right. So if I had $54 and I spent 40, I only have 14 left. And that's exactly what I wanted. All right, so let's look at the bottom. Is there a negative 18? Yes. All right. So you have 10, 11, 12, 13 problems left to do on your own. All right, so make sure you take your time and go through these each and individually. Okay? All right, have a great day.